Hello, Virgo. This is your 2018 yearly tarot reading. We're going to look at what's going to come up for you next year. And this is a Grand Romany spread. There are going to be 21 cards here. It will be quite extensive. Lots of details. Okay, so let's get started. Cutting the cards. The first card is the Hangman. The next card is a Three of Cups. I have the High Priestess. I have an Eight of Cups. I have a Queen of Cups. I have the Shadow Side. And then I have an Ace of Swords. Okay, so that's 7 cards. We have 14 more to go. There are going to be 3 rows of 7. This is the Page of Pentacles. I have a Four of Cups. I have a King of Swords. I have a Page of Wands. I have a Two of Cups. I have a Nine of Pentacles. And then I have a Knight of Swords. One more row to go. I have the High Priest or the Hierophant in reverse. I have a Two of Swords in reverse. I have a Three of Wands. I have a Ten of Pentacles. I have a Five of Wands. I have an Eight of Pentacles. And then I have the Tower. Okay, and those are the cards. There's nothing else. There's no outcome card. So 21 cards here. Now, the way I will read 2018, I simply begin with this first card, which is the Hangman in reverse. And then I end up here at the Tower. So there's no past, present, or future. This is all 2018 from beginning to end. Also, not only are these rows significant, but this is a very multi-dimensional reading, as most tarot readings are. So we're reading horizontally, but I'm also going to be reading vertically. This first row here, those cards address things going on in your home life. This second row addresses you directly. This third row addresses the people around you, or partners, or friends, or family. And then this fourth row, it's your yes or no row. If there's something that you're bringing into 2018 hoping will happen, this card gives you a yes or no. This row is for the unexpected. Okay? This row is about what is expected but might not happen. And then this final row right here, this final row is what's definitely going to happen for you. Okay, I will repeat that as I, you know, work my way back and start reading by rows. And as usual, I'm going to get a handle on what I'm seeing here with your major arcana and the different elements of the tarot cards as well. Of course, you're an earth sign, Virgo, so I'll be paying attention to how some of the pentacles are interacting here in your spread. And it looks like you only have 4. You go from a page of pentacles here in this second row, which is the card of problem solving. It's sometimes I see it as a reality check card where a problem or an obstacle comes up and you have to resolve it. You have to figure out a solution. Okay, and then you have these high-end pentacles here. You have 8, 9, and 10 of pentacles. And of course, the numbers are significant because when the higher you go with the numbers, the closer you are to a new cycle or a new shift in your life. So you have this 9 of Pentacles, which is about prosperity, and 10 of Pentacles, which is also about 10 is always a number of completion, happiness, and prosperity, and you're beginning over again. And then we have an 8 of Pentacles closer to the end of the year, which is about going to work, working on a project, trying to work towards a goal, work towards completion, work towards success. And one of the other things that I think is interesting, you don't have a lot of wands here. You have a page of wands, which is right here in the middle, fire. And that page of wands is, this page of wands is about happiness and joy and new adventures and being enthusiastic. It can also mean getting good news, okay? Waiting for good news, some good news that, because pages deliver messages, some good news that, you know, that brings a gift or something special, okay? So this is actually right in the middle. It's in the middle of the second row, and it's in the middle column here, this 4th column out of 7, okay? So your other wand here is that 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is all about being patient. It's about, you know, waiting for success in a particular endeavor or a project or a relationship. It's having positive expectations. There's a future that you're planning here. And so I think those 2 wands are very important, even though there are 2 of them, because it tells me that underlying all of these pentacles here with your prosperity and happiness, there are some goals here, probably concerning your career or finances, that you're starting you're starting plans, you're taking a new direction as far as career or money or home. And so I'm getting a sense of this year I want to get to a better place with my money. This year I want to get to a better place with my career. And part of those expectations and plans will have you, you know, beginning, you know, but also by the end of the year you're going to be waiting and waiting to hear what's going to happen. You're just going to have, you're still going to have hope, you're still going to have expectations. And Virgo, you're really a strong sign out of all the other earth signs. You're all about planning and supporting and getting things done. So especially if some of you are thinking about your career in 2018 or special shifts, these are two very ambitious cards here. Also, swords seem to be a little prominent. You only have, from what I can see, 4 swords here. You have an Ace of Swords, new decisions, and then you have a King of Swords. And I'm not saying these energies can't represent a particular person, but just looking at the general energy of the swords, we're looking at the Ace of Swords, which is taking control, making a judgment, making an important decision. You have the King of Swords, which acts on those decisions. Lots of discussion. And then we get to a Knight of Swords here. The Knight is about change. Okay. The Knight, you know, whatever judgments or decisions that you make in your life, starting with this Ace of Swords and then follow through with the King of Swords, the Knight puts those decisions in action. Okay, so when we get here, I get a 2 of Swords reversed, and it seems like there's a stalling, things coming to a standstill as far as acting on decisions and the things you want. And sometimes it can mean 2 people who don't agree, but it can also mean a disconnect for you as well, that there's a decision, and it doesn't matter if it's a romantic decision or a career decision. Sometimes when you get that 2 of Swords reverse, it means that there's a stalemate, that there's an inability to compromise. And remember, this Ace of Swords, one sword represents being able to have a vision. It's about truth. It's about clarity, and it's being able to see. It's being able to see things as they are. So, when you have 2 swords here, it's all about, you have to drop one of those swords. You have to make a decision between those 2 swords. And so lots of changes and a desire to change and to make important shifts. And I get a feeling some of you are planning for your future. I get the feeling that some of you Virgos are attached to friends and family and lovers and partners, that you're sharing a life with these people. And it could be that in 2018, some people might be holding you back. Okay. You have a little, it seems like cups are dominant here. I mean, I can count the cups, and just because you have more cups doesn't mean that they're more overwhelming than one element. But I do think it's interesting that right here in the early part of the year, you have a 3 of Cups, and then an 8 of Cups, and then a Queen of Cups. And they're surrounding the High Priestess, which is all about psychic energy and intuition. So a lot of watery energy here in the middle of the year. And it's also preceded by the Hangman, which is also about being, emotionally in turmoil. There are things happening surrounding you that are kind of chaotic. You don't know why they're happening. Things are difficult, and emotionally you feel confused. You don't know why this is happening. You don't know what the bigger picture is. And the Hangman comes along to remind us we should just let go. We should stop trying to control the situation. It's not going to last forever. We just need to go with it and accept and learn from it. So a little bit of emotional speed bumps here that I'm seeing here. And you definitely have a lot of major arcana, because you have 3 cups here, and then you have 2 more cups here. Okay, and then the last row, no cups. Okay. So seeing all these cups up here in the beginning of your year and then thinning out in the middle of your year, it feels like there's some emotional resolution. There are relationship issues that some of you are working out, which I think is pretty interesting here, which I will get back to in detail. But the cups disappear by the end of the year. And the funny thing is, the cups disappear after this Two of Cups here, almost as if you two are finally together. For those of you who have relationship issues or questions, it feels as if once this Two of Cups comes along, there's an established relationship, a compromise, an emotional connection, and then all of a sudden, you know, we get the appearance of some of these swords and wands. And actually you have 3 wands here. I missed this 5 of wands here, closer to the end of the year, which is about conflict. So I get the feeling that some of you might be in a little bit of an emotional free fall heading into the first part of the year. And then maybe even finding a new relationship. And so you find this new relationship in the first part of the year, and then the second half of the year seems to be working out the kinks in the relationship. But that's just a first impression here. And then once again, the major arcana, pretty interesting. You have, you know, not a lot of major arcana considering that there are 21 cards here, but they're still very significant. They kind of give me a framework for the story. And here in this second row, there are no major arcana, but here in this first row, you go from the hangman to the high priestess to the shadow side. No major arcana in the middle of the year, so maybe there's some big changes or shifts going on here emotionally because you have all these cups as well. By the time we get to this last row, it's interesting, we have the high priest reversed. And then you end here with the tower, big shakeups. So that is also very interesting, you know, the way these cards are playing out throughout your year. You know, you're going to begin with the biggest shifts here, maybe in the first few months, and then you go out with a bang here with the tower. And you shouldn't be afraid of having the tower at the end of your reading, because sometimes the tower can bring relief. Sometimes it can actually help you out a little bit. Okay, so beginning here, another run through from beginning to end throughout 2018, what I'm seeing. With all these cups surrounded with major arcana, big shifts emotionally. And maybe some of you are beginning this year with the hangman, because there's some issues with family, conflicts with relationships and family that are happening right now to the end of December, disagreements. Maybe you and someone very special to you, maybe some of you are separated from people because of a disagreement, because of a relationship, you needed space. Sometimes when you get the hangman, it can mean that sometimes when you get the hangman, it means that you've been frustrated for a long time trying to control a particular situation. And Virgos, you do have issues with control. I have a little bit of Virgo in my rising. I have Virgo rising, actually. And so sometimes in situations we want to be there for everyone. Virgos tend to be martyrs. They also tend to want to control everything, handle everything, especially when other people come to them for help. They're always willing to help. And so I think maybe for some of you Virgos, this hangman is coming along because some of you are stressed out, trying to be strong and trying to be the grounded one in a broken relationship or broken family relations. Okay, so after this hangman, we have that Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups, it's not as, if you have a Two of Cups, which comes on later on, the Three of Cups is sort of like the casual party card, celebrating with friends and having a good time, okay? And the interesting thing about this is that perhaps this Three of Cups is indicating that some of you are not just dealing with romantic relationship issues, but issues with your family and your friends, disagreement with friends, trusting your friends as well. That's another reason why the hangman is showing up with all these cups. Then we have the High Priestess. And the interesting thing about the High Priestess is that High Priestess is all about not only the subconscious and understanding the bigger picture. And I think maybe this High Priestess coming along for you Virgos to help you out a little bit. The High Priestess is also about balance emotionally. She's always calm and she's always in control. And she has access to her intuition and her gut. So I think it's interesting that with these cups, this hangman and the High Priestess are together because there's a need to find emotional balance. The hangman is bringing a little bit of emotional free fall. You're letting go, you're trying to let go of an emotional situation with your friends and family. Then the High Priestess comes along and there seems to be a pulling back emotionally because the High Priestess, she keeps her feelings under control. Okay. The High Priestess is also about wisdom. Okay. And she trusts her instincts. She trusts what her spirit guide and the spirits are telling her. So it's interesting that the Eight of Cups follows because this is all about, keep in mind, you also have the moon here as well, along with the High Priestess. This is someone who walks away. This is someone who does let go emotionally. They feel that in order to get to a better place, sometimes you need space, sometimes you have to go it alone. And I feel that for some of you Virgos, when this Queen of Cups comes along, that some of you are going to make emotional decisions. You're going to pull back. And keep in mind that because Earth is your element, you kind of favor being more practical and straightforward. You don't like being in emotional puddles here. You don't like being emotionally out of control or hurt or confused. So I feel like some of you Virgos, especially in your relationships, whether it's a partner or your family or your friends, some of you are just going to say, look, I'm just going to pull back. I'm not going to argue with you anymore. I'm not going to try to, have to fight with you to resolve this issue. I'm just going to start emotionally keeping my own counsel. And then that's when we get this shadow side here. We get an overthrow of a negative power here because this is a card of empowerment. The shadow side is about dealing with addictions and dealing with negative powers that are controlling you or someone who's trying to have a negative influence over you. And it means that there's someone who is trying to manipulate you. And so this is about taking your power back. Now, if it was reversed, it would be the oracle telling you you're not taking your power back, you're completely weak. But the shadow side is sort of like a signal that an addiction or worry or some negative influence from another person, this is going to be you pushing back on that negative influence. This is going to be you, because then this is followed by an Ace of Swords here, where I get the feeling some of you are going to tell particular people in your life, hit the road. Okay, I don't have time for this emotional drama. You know, it's time to get to stepping. Okay, and so that's the dominant impression I'm getting from this first row, going through the first part of the year. Now, once again, what's interesting here, I'm paying attention here to this knight, this king, and this knight of swords, swords energy. You had an ace of swords here. When we get that king and knight of swords, we are not only getting our power back a little bit, but we're just saying, okay, this is my decision. That's what the king does. He makes decisions and he rules. And it can also mean you starting a business, consulting with someone, having an important discussion. And then the knight comes along and acts on that. Okay, the knight brings a shift in communication, a shift in perception. And so when I start here with the Page of Pentacles, big decisions with the Ace of Swords, discussions, revelations here. And then here we have the Page of Pentacles, who is the problem solver. Also, it can mean, because this Page of Pentacles is coming along with an 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles, on the career tip, I feel like some of you are going to get some really great news about money or a job heading into April, May, and June. Okay, as far as money and things like that, I feel that because I'm getting all this prosperity and achievement and success here with these other 3 pentacles, I feel like this Page of Pentacles is some of you going out looking for a job. Some of you not just applying for loans, or maybe some of you are buying houses. But this Page of Pentacles is about you taking the initiative. And because you've taken the initiative, as far as finances or career, some of you are going to be going on interviews. The loan is approved. That's the type of thing I'm looking at when I see this Page of Pentacles. But it's also a reality check card. Okay? And a reality check card, meaning you see things for as they are. Keep in mind, seeing that Earth is your energy, this can definitely be you solving or getting to the bottom of an issue here. So here's the interesting thing. We have this 4 of Cups. This is the card of someone moping, and maybe it's you being emotionally detached. We have someone who's refusing a cup here. And so the interesting thing here is that between this 4 of Cups and this 2 of Cups, there seems to be, once again, this King of Swords. It could indicate a very important communication or discussion. And then you have a Page of Wands, another page bringing good news, a joyous occasion. Okay, and that's when all of a sudden we go from this 4 of Cups to a 2 of Cups. And it could be, once again, marriage proposal, engagement, a wedding. There could be some wonderful shifts in the relationships. You had a lot of relationship issues here in the beginning, but as we go throughout the middle of the year, some of you Virgos are like, yeah, let's work it out. Um, it could very well be some of you are finding a new relationship, okay? Here with the Two of Cups. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. A lot of emotional ups and downs here, but then it seems like some of the relationship issues or relationships with friends and family are now starting to get worked out here. Reconciliation, even getting back together. So then we have a Knight of Pentacles, which is the good life. It's prosperity and happiness. And then you get a Knight of Swords. And once again, swords are about communication and judgment. And there's enthusiasm with the Knight of Swords because the Knight of Swords, air can be very swift and decisive, and it goes in one direction. And so this Knight of Swords is indicating some of you are like, yes, we're going to do this. We're going to actually accomplish this. It could be you getting a special decision, you know, like if some of you actually have legal decisions going on. This Knight of Swords is indicating you winning. It can mean you winning a legal decision or winning an argument, okay? And so there's no fear with the Knight of Swords. You're just going forward fearlessly. And note how he is headed in the direction of this Two of Cups, this happy union, along with all the joy and prosperity of the Nine of Pentacles, which is, of course, is your energy here. So in the middle of the year, as we head into late summer, there are going to be a lot of things working in your favor, Virgo. Things are finally going to come together. Okay? And it'll be a very exciting time for you, I think, for some of you Virgos, for a variety of reasons by the middle of the year. Especially if, once again, some of you are making shifts in your career and your finances. So as we head into this last row, things tend to stall here. And I don't think you should panic. When we have this High Priest, it can mean a contract or a special deal or arrangement that fell through. That's why I think, that's my first impression when I see this High Priest. Now the High Priest is all about devotion and loyalty and faith and honesty. And sometimes the High Priest appears when there's counseling or mediation, people coming together to agree on something. And he also resolves problems and settles disputes. When this is in reverse, it can mean a bad decision. It can mean things were not what you thought they were. It can also mean that someone breaks a promise here. But I'm looking at this in the context of what follows this High Priest. You have a Two of Swords here. Remember what I said about Two of Swords? A stalemate, not being able to come to a decision. Sometimes it can mean you're torn. And it's very likely for some of you Virgos that because of what happened with the High Priest, this falling through of a deal or an agreement, something that you were hoping for, that, you know, you had so much good news and happiness here, and then it looks like things are not going to be what you think. Some of you could be torn between your head and your heart. Some of you are probably, with this Two of Swords, going to be looking at your options and thinking, how can I fix this? Okay, but I don't see this as necessarily something that's going to be completely devastating, but I do feel as we lead up to this Tower in the end, you have this Three of Wands. You have this card of hope and expectations. And this Three of Wands, he's looking towards the swords. He's looking towards the High Priest. And it's like, yeah, things like, I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't expect things to fall through. I didn't expect this person to screw up, but I still have positive expectations here. We have a Ten of Pentacles where things are getting ready to shift and change again, where a new development in this situation, trying to work it out, you're reaching a Ten of Pentacles, which is usually the card of prosperity and happiness and stability. And then you finally get to go back to the Ace, okay? But this can also mean when you get these higher level numbers and things are about to start over again, keep in mind, you might get things stable, but things are about to shift again. And that's when we get that Five of Wands, which is the card of conflict, people not being on the same page. And so I'm getting a little bit of turbulence here, because then you get turbulence with the High Priest, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like, what happened and what decision should I make next? You try to get things, you try to be positive, you try to bring things back with your earth energy here in the Ten of Pentacles, to get things stable and grounded. But then this Five of Wands, once again, brings conflict, maybe a slight disagreement. And then we find ourselves with your Eight of Pentacles, where you're like, okay, I need to start putting out fires. I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to, you know, I'm not going to risk my job or my happy home life or everything that I've worked for. I need to get back to work here. Okay? You're very determined, and it feels as if some of you Virgos are going to be in a position financially of just, how can I say it? When this Eight of Pentacles follows a Nine and Ten of Pentacles, which are, as I've said, very stable prosperity cards, I see you with this Eight of Pentacles like, wait a minute, I need to resolve one more thing. I need to address this issue with this person immediately. It could mean actual work for some of you, that you're at this job and you're working hard, and you're working through all the conflicts and hiccups here. And then this is followed by the Tower. And keep in mind, the Tower is the card of surprises. And seeing this Tower with the other major arcana card here, I'm kind of feeling that the big screw up or the falling through with plans here is simply an indication that some of you might need to start over, wipe the slate clean. And I'm not saying necessarily a breakup with a relationship. As far as relationships, I do see the Tower as a big revelation, something that you finally know, something that I kind of feel like for some of you Virgos, it's the final resolution of a problem, and now you're just going to just move on. And so keeping in mind that the Tower brings those big changes, unexpected changes, the Tower is also good because it's about starting over. It's about taking away negative energy and getting the things that are blocking you out of the way. So remember what I said at the beginning. This is not necessarily a bad card. It brings transformation. It brings change. And sometimes earth signs, especially Virgos, some of you can be a little hesitant to change. Some of you, like I said, you have to control. You have to be the ones who take care of everybody else. So by the time the Tower comes at the end of the year, some of you Virgos are like, no, 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 this is not what I wanted to happen. But I feel like this Tower is coming along for the right reasons. And I don't think it's necessarily a big change in your finances. I don't think it means that you're going to be poor or lose money. I don't think it means a breakup as far as your relationships. I think that I see this more as a big discussion or a big revelation with your friends, family, and partners, actually. And I see it more as a transformation that's going to help you versus you leaving something or losing something. I feel like this little bit of drama is coming along to kind of help you Virgos release what and let go of something that is really draining you. And that's when I see all of these hiccups with all this prosperity and good news and progress. I kind of feel like these little obstacles and cards come along because the lesson for you Virgos in 2018 is sort of like fear of not being in control, fear of not fear of what someone might do, fear of new decisions, fear of new environments. And so I feel like this tower, it's sort of like the oracle saying to you Virgos, okay, you're going to be shifting a lot. You know, you began the year trying to hold on to everything. You're hanging upside down. You're still trying to control everything. The tarot is going to say, we're going to shift you to new horizons here and new perspectives on your life because you've got a lot of wonderful, good things happening here. Okay, so yeah, when I look at how these Five of Swords and then the Hierophant's reversed, I'm like, okay, Virgo, the story that's emerging here is you not trying to resist change. You're not trying to make everything fit the way you want to. Not making people fit the way you want to. Not making circumstances foolproof. With that never fail because you Virgos can be perfectionists. So let's read column by column here. All right, so we're reading vertically here. So you go from the Hangman, this is your home life. Hangman, and then a Page of Pentacles, the reality check card, and then the High Priest. Once again, for those of you who are maintaining family and where you live, you know, and it can embrace finances, mortgages, you know, money issues. Some of you might be dealing with severe financial situations that won't be resolved right away. Some of you might actually be in legal issues, you know, whether it's getting a divorce, separation, you know, legal issues such as bankruptcy. I get the feeling that this High Priest is going to be someone who drops the ball, and because they dropped the ball, a particular outcome that you wanted, especially in regards to a formal contract, something might fall through as far as the home. And so that's why I think some of you might be a little bit chaotic, you know, things in your life might be a little bit chaotic because there are ongoing issues with selling and buying and negotiating and contracts and loans that some of you are dealing with here. This second column applies directly to you. Okay, so you start off with the Three of Cups, friendship, family, celebration, and then we get to this emotional distance, detachment. Someone is too self-centered here. And then this brings us to a Two of Swords, an inability to come together or come to an agreement. Maybe you emotionally pulling back. And you know your head and your heart are separated. And you know, this emotional detachment kind of ends up with you Virgos compartmentalizing yourselves, okay? And that's not necessarily a good thing. I think this is why the Tower is coming to sort of shake you guys up in a new direction. This third column, it's all about what's influencing your friends and your family and your loved ones, what's going on with them. And so we have the High Priestess, we have the King of Swords. Now the King of Swords and the High Priestess, they're all about emotional detachment and judgment. Okay, that's what they have in common. Um, this this sense of being able to see the truth and understand. And then, so I get the feeling that your friends and family, it's all about their decisions, them being independent. That's the biggest impression I have. People who are independent of you, not, how can I say it? It feels as if some people around you, especially if you're in a relationship, your partners might be pulling back a little bit from you. Um, Communication is going to be important. The King of Swords is all about communication. So I feel like some of the people surrounding you are making decisions without you, who are trying to take a new direction apart from you. And so that brings me to this Three of Wands, which is about expectations, a new direction for the future. And they might actually try to get you to go along with this, especially if you're in a partnership. I'm taking a new job. Let's get a house together. Let's move in together. So that's the energy I see surrounding the people around you, and especially those of you who are looking to see what's the outcome in your romantic life. Um, it feels as if some of you might, your partner or your love interest, they're not revealing too much, they're not acting on too much, they're not giving you a lot of reassurance. But this Three of Wands comes along to sort of indicate that they're pulling back, they're waiting, but they're not going to be making any big moves as far as relationships. They're going to be very passive, okay? And it can also mean, also as far as your career, same thing, that there are decisions and communications where you're not going to get a straight decision. It feels like, especially in your career issue, in the area of your career, things are going to be, let's wait and see. So your yes or no, I'm getting a yes here for whatever it is, especially on the relationship issue. We begin with an Eight of Cups, which is the card of letting go and walking away and taking some space. Then we get some good news and new beginnings with the Page of Wands, which leads to a Ten of Pentacles. So there will be happiness as far as partnerships and home here. You will be in your element, Virgo, where you will have some stability, that things are going to start shifting as far as relationships in your direction in different ways. And also, as far as yes, this is definitely a yes as far as money and prosperity here. Now, the unexpected, this conflict here. Cups, once again, you have this, you had like all these cups here in your row, which apply directly to you, and then more cups. So a lot of emotions here. We have a Queen of Cups who's connected to her emotions. She's emotionally healing. She's growing. And then I get this Two of Cups. Once again, for some of you, a relationship that's growing, a reconciliation, getting back together. And then this Fire comes along again with the Five of Wands. This is something that you're not expecting that might actually happen. It's a possibility that there will be some conflict in your relationships. As far as things that you expect, but you might not happen, okay, so we have the shadow side here. We have this overcoming of negative energies and powers, and then the Nine of Pentacles, the happiness and the prosperity. But then you come down from 9 to 8 of Pentacles. We're getting back to work. We're focusing on, as far as a job situation, once again, this might be addressing what your job situation might look like specifically. for those of you who are wondering about your career. But this Eight of Pentacles here, getting back to work, being able to work on a solution, something that you're hoping will be successfully completed. And maybe for some of you, there might not be a successful completion or end as far as a job search or financial issues. It doesn't mean you won't continue to work towards that or a problem won't be resolved. But for some of you, it's like, will I be able to sell this house once and for all? Will I be able to find my dream job? And so I think you should consider this a maybe. So as far as things that are going to happen here, I've already explained the Tower in depth here because you have this Ace of Swords, which is about truth. And then the Knight of Swords takes the sword, goes into war, goes into change and transition. And those changes and transitions and decisions bring us to the Tower, okay, which is likely to happen. This new transformation for the better good, okay? Once again, don't see this as a bad thing. It means that long-standing issues that you've been trying to resolve for quite a while are going to be resolved once and for all. It's going to wipe the slate clean. It's going to put you in a better mind frame. It's going to resolve these issues of you working with people and always arguing or the back and forths. The Tower is going to resolve all of that for you. So Virgo, that was your reading for 2018. Thank you guys so much for your support throughout the year. It's just been amazing. I've been doing this for the end of a third year now, and I've gotten so many new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and all your wonderful comments. So I want to wish you a happy new year in advance. And I will continue to do these tarot readings for you. But I do appreciate your support and your belief and sharing how much these readings have helped you. So I wish nothing but the best for 2018. It's going to be a wonderful year. Thank you so much. And as always, I wish you love and light.